Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to this video. Today we'll be looking at the speaking part of your assessment. Okay, so today we'll be looking at language functions and expressions, as well as identifying conversation strategies in social interactions. While you are speaking a particular language, you will be when you are talking to other people, you will use certain expressions, and then you will interact with them through language. So throughout this, we'll be looking at how do you start off a conversation, how do you maintain, how do you ask for something, and then how do you finish off the conversation. So without further ado, let's look at the language, function, and expressions that you can use for your speaking assessment, as well as what you can try to understand and identify the strategies that can be used throughout your social interactions with the language. So first things first, let's look at the language functions and expressions. Language function means how the language that you use you functions throughout the conversation, as well as the expression is what you can use. So first thing first, whenever you are meeting someone, anyone new or your friends, you will be doing greetings. For example, hello, hi, those are called greetings. Assalamualaikum, those are called greetings. And then whenever you meet someone new, you will introduce yourself. So how do you start to introduce yourself? You can use I like to introduce myself, for example. Or you want to introduce someone else. I like to introduce my friend, my family, my father, my sister. Then you tell their names. Okay, for example, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Shazwan. For example, that is introducing yourself. Or can I introduce my friend? This is Muhammad someone bin someone. Okay, Muhammad Ahmad Albab bin Ahmad Pintu or something. Okay, for example. So that is how you do greetings and introducing yourself. It depends, okay, on how you want to introduce yourself. So remember, greetings is very important in any kind of social interaction, because you want to show that you have manners, you have etiquette. So if you just directly meet someone and then something, can you help me, without any kind of proper greetings or proper introduction, people will consider you being very rude and not very professional in any situation. Okay, just playing rude and no manners. Okay, remember that. So start with a greeting. Introduce yourself as someone new, or just greet your friends or other people that you know accordingly, right? And then maybe you are interacting with them, you want to ask for information. So that is what other language function that you can use. Language can be used in a lot of other things. So first thing, you can use it to ask for information. So how do you ask for them? So this is some of the way. May I, for example, then who? May I know who is what? Or may I know what is happening? So you want to ask for more information. You want to get to know more about something. Maybe you want to ask about the particular situation. Maybe there is an accident happening. You want to ask what about the accident. So you ask to, may I know what happened? That is how you get information. Then the respondent will respond to you. So maybe the second one, could I be informed about which that had happened? That is how you ask for information. Okay, that's one of the. There's are the few ways. For example, what happened? You can ask for that as well. That is a bit more informal. Okay, remember that all language functions, they have formal and informal way. Okay, for example, the greeting just now, you can use hi, or maybe just hey. My name is somewhat. That is quite informal. That means that's more casual in tone. So it's not a problem. But remember, your language functions depends on the expression that you use. Depends on the what we call the who you are talking to. Okay, the formality, the tone depends on who you are talking to. When you are talking to someone who is elderly, maybe older people, or you become more soft in tone. then you become more respectable towards them. Maybe talking to your boss, you will become more formal, and then you will, like I said, respectable towards them. But when you are talking with your friends, you are more casual, more informal. So the tone of the language expression that you use in any kind of language functions depends on the person who you are talking to. So remember, casual and formal. Right. So coming back to this, asking for opinions. Sometimes you just don't want to know more. You want to know more. You are not just asking for opinion information. You want to know what they think about a particular subject. So you ask them for opinion. So how do you ask them? You use the language expression that's given. So how do you feel about about what? About people who are sleeping late. Okay, for example. So you're asking them what they feel, their opinions towards that particular subject. Second one, what is your opinion regarding? That is how you ask them. You want them to give feedback, to give opinions on a particular topic. So, and then last one, what are your comments on the issue? So that is how you you ask them for opinions. But what about you giving the opinion? So you can give your own opinions based on a particular subject. After maybe the person that you talk to gave their opinions, you can give your own. Okay. For example, you use, in my opinion. That is how you give your opinion. So I am certain that, and personally I believe that. So that is how you express your opinion. Personally, I believe that people who are sleeping late because for example, that is how you giving your opinions. And then while you are interacting with others, sometimes you want to make suggestions. How do you do that? You use some of these expressions. I suggest that, okay, for example, what people try to sleep earlier at night. Okay, and then last one, I can recommend that taking more vitamins or taking more vegetables or can make people more healthy. So you are trying to suggest them something, suggest something new for them, for other people to follow you. Okay, and then expressing agreement. So you agree with someone. Maybe they gave their opinion. You ask them for their opinion. They give a good opinion. Then you agree with them. How do you agree with them? So this is how you can do it. So for example, that is so true. You agree with them. You show agreement. So you can use that is so true. I agree with you 100%. You have a point there, and that is for sure. Okay. So that is some of the language functions that we will focus on for this one. So remember that there are a lot more. Sometimes there are a lot more of language functions that you can use. For example, when you disagree, maybe you want to close out the conversations. There are some others that you can use and you can learn too. But remember that use when you are doing the speaking part of your assessment, you will be tested on how well you use the language functions and how do you express your use the expressions well, the language expression. So you need to be able to understand where to use it, when to use it. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, we move back towards asking for and giving opinions. So you need to focus on these few things. Okay, so when you want to ask for opinion, the very good thing to remember is that you will use the WH questions to seek information. What are the WH questions? Like this: what, why, when, which, where, who, whom, whose, and how. So whenever you want to ask about a particular thing, you can use those WH questions. For example, what is what you want to where is when you want to ask about a particular thing, maybe like a name, a particular time, or something that is general. But why you want to ask for the reason. When you want to ask the time, which you want to focus on particular thing. Where is when you want to look for the location. Who is who and whom is for the people or person involved. Who same with whose, and how is the methods. Okay, so whenever you want to ask particular thing, please make sure that you know which or what question you will use to ask the to get the information. If you want to ask about a person, you use who, whose, whom, and whose. If you want to ask about the method, you use how. When you want to ask about the time, you ask when. Okay. And then location, you ask where. So for example, what time will your mother be arriving at KLIA? So you want to ask about the time, but not a specific time, a particular time. Okay. And then where do you think we should stack the chair? You want to ask about the location. So that is how you use the WH questions to ask for information. You want to find more information about a particular thing. Right. So if you want to know, there are some other ways for expressions. Especially with models, you can use models like may, could, those kind of things. Then you use with WH questions. For example, may I? Who? Could I? Which? So for example, may I know who to contact in case of emergency? So that is one way for you to ask for information. Could I know which direction I should take to get to the car park? So the expressions with models. So the may, could, should, those are expressions with models. Okay. Continuing on, asking for opinion. So this is an example. How do you feel about? What is your opinion regarding? What are your comments on the issue? So remember that while you are doing your speaking in a group, you need to be able to use these kinds of expressions to show that you are able to ask questions when you are required to. Okay, you will able to ask for opinions because you are in a discussion for the speaking assessment. So you will need to converse towards during the discussion. You need to discuss on the topics that you have given, and you need to ask for opinions for them to for the discussion to be a good one. Okay, so this is how some of the way for you to use when you are asking for opinion. And then you are not just asking, you are giving your opinion as well. So how do you give? You can use some of this expression. For example, in my opinion, I think that okay, and then I am certain that, okay, and then personally I believe that. So whenever you use this giving opinion, so there are a certain level of certainty, or meaning that how much you trust your opinion. Okay, sometimes maybe you think you say I think that you are not so sure. Maybe if you're not so sure, you use I think it is possible. For example, maybe if you are 100% completely sure, you are certain, then you can use I am certain that, or I personally believe that. You are 100% believing in your opinion, and then you think that that is correct. So that is how you give opinion on that. Okay, depends on how well you trust your opinions. Right. Then expressing agreement and disagreement. While you are doing your discussion, it might seem sometimes you might agree with someone, sometimes you might disagree with them. That is totally fine. Okay, because this is called a discussion. You are contributing to discussion by expressing your agreement, disagreement, and giving and asking for opinion. So how do you express your agreement? You can use that's so true. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. That is absolutely correct. That is precisely the point. That is for sure. You have a point there, and you are absolutely right. Okay, that is how you agree. And there are some other expression that you can use. It depends on how well you want to use it. And then, like I mentioned earlier, it can be used formally and informally. This one is more towards formal use. Okay. And then disagreement. Okay, means that you don't really agree with someone's opinion. They think the opinion should be can be better. With another person's opinion can be better. How do you express the agreement? You just don't say no. Okay. Okay. You need to use proper language expression. For example, I am afraid I disagree. Oh, that is not always true. Okay, or I actually have the opposite opinion on. I'm not so sure about that. I don't think so. I guess it is true, but I would say the exact opposite, and I do not believe that because so those are the ways that you can use to express disagreement. You don't agree with the person, you think that there is something to be changed. Okay, so that is how you use. But remember, whenever you express agreement or disagreement, you must provide the reason so that it becomes a good discussion. If you don't provide any sort of reason and you just agree blindly, that is considered bad. Okay? Whenever you agree, please remember after, okay, for example, I agree with you 100%. I think that people should always do that. How, for example, you agree with them, provide your reasons. That makes your argument stronger. That makes your words become more valid. Okay? So that is why we need to express agreement, and then we provide our justification. Right? Same with disagreement. You say that I disagree with that because of why. Okay? Provide your opinion. Provide your justification. Provide your reasoning. Okay, remember that. Use appropriate prompting strategies. Sometimes when you are discussion, you need to remember that sometimes you might need to use prompts. Prompt means that you need to trigger something so that people or another thing that will happen. Okay. So there are 5 or 6 here. Okay. Or 5 if we just make it follow the boxes here. So first one, gestural prompt, including pointing, nodding, or any type of action. For example, if you want to ask for there are 4 of you, so you want to ask the first person's opinion, you point at them. Well, point properly lah, huh? Don't put all 4 fingers there, or just point with your thumb. Okay, point to them, or nod with them, or any kind of action that show gestures. Okay. So you want to agree with them, you nod. Yes, you nod, then yes. Okay, I agree. So that is a gestural prompt to show agreement. Or if you disagree, you can just shake your head and then you you express your disagreement. Or if you want to ask a particular person to talk, you gesture to them. Okay, you point the fingers to them, point your thumb to them. Okay. Right. Physical prompt is where physical contact is provided to guide the learner. For example, you want to this is usually when you are focusing on a particular text, or maybe you are doing like math homework. You are using, okay, look at this, you write down, you guide them to write about that. Okay, maybe you guide them through the homework, you guide them through writing to the whiteboard. So those kinds of things, physical prompt. Or maybe you touch the person to ask them to do it. Okay, the third one, full verbal prompt, provide spoken complete response towards things said, meaning that you respond verbally after you have been asked of something, or maybe you are responding to a particular idea. That is full verbal prompt. Auditory prompt is any type of sound the learner can hear, like an alarm or a timer. Maybe you hear like the bell is maybe the bell rang once. Maybe you know that the time is almost up, so you try to finish up. That's kind of thing. So any kind of things that you hear, maybe like a sound outside, maybe the bell ringing or the alarm, that is auditory prompt. And then last one, textual or written prompt can be in the way of a list or some other type of written instruction. Maybe you look at the question, read the instruction, or maybe you look at the ideas that you have written down in the paper so that you can focus on what you want to say. Those are textual or written prompt. Okay. Then remember, when you are in a group discussion, you have turns. Okay, you will have turns. A, B, C, D, you will all will be talking in turns, but you need to remember everyone needs to talk, and then you need to give appropriate time for everyone to speak their opinions. Okay, so this is why turn taking strategies is very important. Okay, so let's look at them. First one, speak then ask. When you ask someone a direct question, you're forcing them to take their turn. Okay, maybe you talk about your opinion and then you ask someone to continue. There is one way for them to show that your turn is ending, and then the other person's turn is next. Okay, so that is how you do. That is one kind of prompt as well. Okay, use conjunctions. Conjunction and connectors like however and on the contrary, or as a result, help students get used to taking longer turns. Meaning that you want to show that you want to talk more, so you use conjunctions. Okay, so you need to talk a bit more when you use conjunctions. Alright, so if you want to tell everyone that you want to explain and elaborate more, use conjunctions well. Okay, third one, great way to keep conversation going is by disagreeing and disagreeing with what another student has said. So it means that you need to listen to the other person carefully so that you will be able to respond to them, provide your opinion and disagree or agree, any kind of those kind of thing, because you want to keep on the conversation going. If you have less than the allotted time, your content will be less, so you need to talk more. Okay, so that is great way by disagree and agreeing. But remember, like I said, when you agree or disagree, provide justification. Okay, it's very important for students to be able to not only express their opinions but also ask others for their own. Okay, you talk about your opinion and then you ask another person about them. That is a great way to pass the turn. Okay, pass your turn, and then you can lengthen the discussion. Then use useful phrases that act as fillers or thinking words. They can turn to when they need time to come up with an appropriate response. Try to use those kinds of words, fillers. Okay, because sometimes when you are drawing a blank, you try to or you just keep quiet, there is a long spaces time. This is very bad because you are not getting the conversation going. Alright, so the fans can come and chip in and help them to avoid those blanks of conversations, because that will affect the marks quite a lot. Okay, because you cannot get the conversation going. So try to come up with phrases as fillers or thinking words, something that can help you fill in the gaps. Okay, another important skill is being able to avoid being interrupted. Okay, whenever you are talking, try to be considerate of others. Okay, see if they want to interrupt, then you ask them to not ask them, show to them that you are still talking, and then you gesture to them, you prompt them to talk. Okay, provide ample, like what we say, opportunities for everyone to speak. Okay, do not overshadow everything. Okay, it's not your show. Everyone should have suitable time to talk about a particular part. Okay, and then lastly, fluency over accuracy. When encouraging students to take longer turn speaking, keep corrections to a minimum. So when we are doing the turn taking, when you are doing the conversations, you are allowed to take a longer time, but make sure you are speaking well. Ignore about the accuracy, we can fix it in the try to make the conversation flow as good as you can. Okay, right, so interruption strategies, that is very important to remember, because when we are talking about we are talking to another person when you are in the conversation. Okay, sometimes you want to interrupt someone, okay, when you are talking, but you need to use appropriate interrupting strategies. You cannot just jump in and then you ask them to you cannot just jump in and interrupt them. Okay, that is rude and considered unprofessional, and you are not being very good in contributing. Okay, so first things first, ask for permission to jump in. Raise your hands. Example, raise your hands. Show them to them that you want to interrupt them. Okay, do not just jump in. Ask for permission. If they give, then you can continue, and then if they don't give, you just wait for your turn. Okay, and then apologize for the interruption, because you are interrupting their turn, so you need to apologize. Okay, if they give you the turn in, apologize. Remember, need to apologize. I am sorry for interrupting, but I think that there is a mistake there or something. That is good. You apologize first. Okay, and then chime in with a relevant point. It means that if you want to interrupt, you must provide something that is relevant to what the person is talking about when you want to interrupt. Okay, maybe they talk about the benefits of something, you think that it is not good, but you want to interrupt. Yes, you can, but remember, it must be relevant. And then lay ground rules from the beginning. Means that you need to, for your discussion, you need to remember that if you want to interrupt or anything, ask them properly. Do not just, there is some rules that you need to follow before you start with the discussion. Okay, so this is a simple question that you can go through. So this is what you will be asked to do for your what we say speaking assessment. So there is a situation where they talk about the general thing that happens, and then the task will be split into 4, and then you will be given time to group discuss in a group. So each one will have different parts of the topic which you will talk about, and then you support with your ideas and opinions. Whereas when you're in the group discussion, everyone will have their parts which you will discuss with each other on that particular thing, and then you will come up with a solution on what is what they ask. Okay, so we can try this if you want in your lesson after this. Okay, no worries, but remember that whenever you are doing the discussion, you have to follow the language expressions and discussions. Okay, how do you use the language expressions, what language function you use when you start, you end, those kinds of things. So remember, those are very important for you to focus on, as they will be tested in your speaking practice. So thank you very much for listening to me. My name is Shazwan, and you will be a very good viewer. Thank you. Bye bye.